672 million cases, 6.7 million deaths, and 193 countries. This is the havoc which the Chinese Wuhan virus has inflicted upon us. The question is, will this Wuhan killer never die? And I ask this question tonight because the Wuhan killer wave is back with renewed rage in its home country, China, and across increasing parts of the world. The situation in China is much worse than its government admitted and experts estimated. According to a new projection, China is going to see a larger and more prolonged outbreak, with infections reaching a higher peak and deaths breaking gruesome records. Here is what the projection states. There are three important things here. One, cases in China could peak to 4.8 million a day. 4.8 million a day. Number two, deaths in China could peak to 36,000 on the 26th of January. That's just days away. And number three, over 500,000 Chinese citizens may die by the end of this wave. I know that numbers and statistics leave some of us numb, seem repetitive, but wake up and smell the danger. They are telling us yet another story of fear. There is a world of difference between the previous projections and the present one. And this begs the question, how far will the China wave spill over into the rest of the world this time around? Let me rephrase that. Has the wave in China already spilled far beyond Chinese borders? It sure looks like it has. Have a look at the numbers. They are from the World Health Organization. They show which countries are reporting fresh infections. And let me remind you, these are figures from the last 7 days. Let me start with the United States. In the last 7 days, it has reported over 415,000 cases and 3,922 deaths. Next, we have Japan. It reported over 902,000 cases and 2,805 deaths. And then we have South Korea. It reported over 261,487 cases and 345 deaths. Following them is Australia. It reported over 191,000 cases and over 742 deaths. And then we have France. It reported over 42,000 cases and over 469 deaths. And if I speak of Brazil, it reported over 107,885 cases. Germany reported around 73,000 fresh cases. Italy reported over 43,000 cases. So over 8 countries are now reporting new cases. Is this just a coincidence or a matter of chance? I don't think so. You see, on the 8th of January, China reopened its borders. It allowed its people to travel abroad. Could this explain the spike in infections across the world? And some reports suggest as much. Like this one, it's from the 17th of January. Look carefully at what it states. On 4 flights out of China in December, 22% of the passengers were found to be positive. 22%. Genome sequencing of these passengers revealed that they carried over 5 mutations of Omicron. And this report says most of them went to Italy. And this is not a standalone report, by the way. There is another. Take this one, for example. It was released this morning. It says nearly a quarter of travelers flying out of China after zero COVID were tested positive for the Wuhan virus. Nearly a quarter of them. Around 11% of these passengers were highly likely to be infectious to others. Now, these reports only give you an idea about how and what pace the virus is traveling at from mainland China to the rest of the world. The country that gave us this virus seems still to be exporting new variants of it without our knowledge. What's worse, this could escalate in the days ahead. Look at this report. It came out this morning. It says flight bookings in China have risen by a colossal 60%. 60. Most of them are return tickets. These are Chinese citizens that are going back home for the Lunar New Year. They are expected to fly back to their bases around the end of this month. And that's not all. These bookings also include tickets to other countries. They are of Chinese citizens looking to spend their New Year vacations abroad. Where will they go? The most popular destinations are as follows: Australia, Indonesia, Macau, Malaysia, Singapore, Taiwan, Thailand, the UK, the US. In the next 2 weeks, a host of Chinese citizens will be traveling to these countries. Most of the bookings are for Southeast Asia. If we break it down into numbers, Malaysia will be witnessing a 584% increase in tourists from China. Singapore will be seeing a 499% rise. Thailand will be seeing a 101% increase. And this data is worrying. Yet, some countries and airlines are least bothered. Look at these visuals. They are from last week. This is when the Deputy Prime Minister of Thailand himself went to welcome the first group of Chinese travelers after the pandemic restrictions. There were a total of 269 passengers. They were all personally welcomed by the leader. And Thailand reported over 4,166 cases last week. Isn't there a direct connection here? This is a major spike in Thailand from just 259 cases the week before. In fact, for the last 3 months, Thailand has not reported more than a few hundred cases every week. And now all of a sudden, it's recording over 4,000 cases in just 7 days. Is this spike linked to the incoming Chinese travelers? Who knows? And Thailand will not say. But South Korea has kept a track. Last week, it shared some eye-opening statistics to justify its rules for the Chinese travelers. It said that more than half of its imported cases are coming from China, 80% to be precise. So let me say this. It's about time that every country, whether it's a Chinese ally or not, whether it's in the grip of a wave or not, starts keeping a track of who they are opening their doors for. We've been saying this for weeks now, and we repeat this call again because we've all had enough of this Chinese virus. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.